In this lesson, we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing. What I want you to do is draw a little triangle somewhere. Okay. At the top of your triangle, I want you to put a plus sign. And at the bottom of your triangle, I want you to put two negative signs. This is going to help you figure out whether or not your answer is positive or negative. Because really, that's what multiplying and dividing numbers comes down to. Whether or not our positive or negative, because you have nice little tools like multiplication tables that you can use to help you figure out what the actual answer is, but then to figure out what sign, whether it's positive or negative, you want to be able to use that little triangle tool. And I'm going to show you how to use that when we get started with some problems. So make sure you have that on your paper. Also, if you have a multiplications table somewhere, that's really handy to have. And I'm going to show you how to use it for both multiplying and dividing. You can usually find a multiplication table with a really quick, simple Google search, or there should be a link somewhere available to you that has one that I created. So let's look at our first couple of examples. We're going to talk first about multiplying and dividing integers that have the same signs. Okay? Now, same signs, I want you to think about this. Anytime you take a positive number times a positive number, it's still going to be positive. And then using our triangle, if we take a negative number times a negative number, just kind of cover those up or cross them out, what sign is left? A positive. So whether you're taking a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative, your answer is still going to be positive. Okay? So let's look. I have a positive 6 times a positive 8. That's a positive times a positive, which means our answer is going to be positive. Now, let's figure out what our answer is going to be. We're taking 6 times 8. So I'm going to go to 6 and 8, and I'm going to find where they meet. So that would be right here. So 6 times 8 is 48. So our answer here is a positive 48. In example 10, I have a negative 11 times a negative 9. If I have my little triangle, remember I said a negative times a negative makes a positive. And then we can figure out, I don't know if my multiplication table is big enough here. Nope. What 9 times 11 is. And 9 times 11 is 99. So we have a positive 99. Let's talk about dividing. So here I have a positive 24 divided by a positive 3. They're the same signs. It's a positive and a positive, which means our answer is going to be positive. And then using a multiplication table to do division, we're going to start in the column that is for 3 and look for the number 24. So here's my multiplication table. I'm going to go to the 3 column and go down to find 24. It's right here. And so that makes 8 our answer. See how that works? Looking at example 12, I've got two negative numbers. So a negative and a negative makes a positive. And this time, which column am I going to look under? I'm going to look under the 4 column, and I'm going to find what number? I'm going to find 20. Here's 20. So what is my answer? 5. So my answer here is a positive 5. Let's talk about now when we're multiplying and dividing integers with different signs. So this means a positive times a negative, or a negative times a positive. And this is where your triangle really comes in handy. When we were looking at integers, it worked out that we always take the sign of the larger number, but now when we're talking about multiplying and dividing, that doesn't have anything to do with it. The size of the number has absolutely nothing to do with the sign of your answer. So I really like to use this triangle. Here I have -4 times +9. So I'm dealing with a negative times a positive. What sign is left? A negative. So a negative is definitely going to be our answer. Then I need to look for 4 times 9. So here's my multiplication table. What is 4 times 9? Here's 4, here's 9, and where they meet is 36. So it looks like our answer here is a negative 36. Let's do example 14. Is my answer going to be positive or negative? Here's my triangle. I have a positive 8 times a negative 7, which means my answer will be negative. Looking at my multiplication table, here's 8, and here's 7. So where they meet is 56. So my answer is a negative 56. Okay, now let's talk about dividing. Remember, we're talking about different signs. And so far, every time we've had two numbers with different signs, what has our answer been? It's been negative, and that's not going to change. Over here, I'm going to have a negative 49 divided by a positive 7, which means my answer is going to be negative. So if I take my multiplication table, what column am I going to search? I'm going to search the 7 column. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for 49. So what is my answer to 49 divided by 7? It's 7. So my final answer to negative 49 divided by 7 is negative 7. Try the last one on your own. So for example 16, is our answer going to be positive or negative? It's going to be a negative. Again, we're talking about different signs. And then, hopefully you found a multiplication table, our answer to 64 divided by 4 is going to be 16. So our final answer is negative 16. Let's try some practice problems.